slightly lame because I be dancing to that music. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Happy Thursday. It's Thankful Thursday. I hope y'all can see me well. I got this light on. Yeah, I'm gonna get this lighting situation together eventually. Just trying to get as least amount of reflection in my glasses. Hey y'all, it's Thursday. It's thankful Thursday. How y'all doing? Y'all rocking. I'm rolling. I'm excited to be with y'all today. Let's get her in. Y'all in here. Come on, say hi to me so I can know you're here. I know y'all here. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all really need to just stop being difficult and go ahead and just say hi. Just do a quick hi. You don't have to like me or nothing. Just say hi so I can know you here. Because then y'all tell me y'all here all the time. And I'm like, really? I had no idea. The ones that say something all the time, y'all cool. But the ones that don't, please just let me know you're here. It will help me out tremendously. I just want to know who I'm talking to. Talk back to me. Talk back to me, okay? What's good? Julia Boo, how are you, girl? Hey. I'm excited. I've had a good day today. Y'all know this is getting a little dark. But hey, I'm not gonna complain. I just refuse. It's too many great things going on, and I refuse to complain. So how be y'all, right? How y'all be? So I have some exciting news at the end of this broadcast. But I just trying to see if a few more people come on before I start so I can get y'all engaged. But how's your day been? Have you had a productive day, or if it was a day off, was it restful, or did you have a day that was your super creative? How did it work? How was it working out for you? So I just hey, what up? What up, Tim, bro? What up? Hey, JC, how are you? Yeah, so I have had a pretty good day. I would say my day was a mixture of productive, creative, and I wouldn't necessarily say restful, but I will say it wasn't too stressful, and I'm grateful, right? So we're gonna get it started because I know y'all see my topic, and I know y'all probably like, what is she even talking about? Hold on real quick. Nakai, hey, I'm grateful you're here. On the stove, please hurry up and do it. I'm alive already. On the stove, please. I'm alive. Please look on the stove, please. Sorry, y'all. Y'all can get stuff right live because that's how I do. Cover it, please. And so, sorry, y'all. So let's go. But it's been a good day, and I'm gonna get it started. I know y'all probably like, what are you talking about today? But y'all see my title because we about to get this in. We're still in. I told you I have an unofficial series. I have an unofficial series title for January because that's what I'm gonna start doing. Every month I'm gonna have a series. I'm gonna have a series title, like a different series each month. And so February is when I officially started. You guys will see that come up next week, promoting for February because that's all together. I even have March together. But January, I didn't get it out in time because I took my little break. But the unofficial theme for January is New Year, New You. And I know it sounds cliche, but remember we talked about what did you leave into the in the past and last year that you didn't bring over, and then what are the things you're purposely bringing into the new year, and making sure that you assess that correctly so that you are on the right path. We also talked about the root of rejection recently, and the reason I talked about that is you don't realize that is connected to so many things that actually drive your other actions. So I thought, and it came up another live, so I thought it was good to probably pull that in there, right? Because you might not even realize if you're dealing with that root rejection, it does power a lot of your actions and other things you're doing. So that's that. So today, I know y'all see my title, is self-sabotage. I know you probably like, well, Paris, we all know what that means. What is the point of talking about it? Well, I just want to make sure we know. And as much as you already know what it means, I wanted to make sure that you actually realize if you're doing it or not. Because sometimes we do it subconsciously and are not aware that we're doing it. So we talk about these things like just new year, new me, all these things happening. But subconsciously, you might not realize that you are self sabotaging yourself. And that's why you're not getting as far, or that's why you feel stuck. And it's definitely a real thing. And I friend and it came up and I'm like, you know what? This is a worthy conversation to have. So let's kind of get into it a little bit, right? Self-sabotage, what is it? Um, Basically, it just means that you have a goal or you have something you're doing in your life and you sometimes knowingly do it, but most times unknowingly sabotage your own thing. You know, some people can throw things in your way for you not to go. That's different. When you actually put obstacles in your own way, that's a whole nother thing. And we feel like, again, the reason we have these conversations is because it's easier to say, oh, that person's doing that, or that person's doing this. But what about the conversation that, you know what, we've all done it to some extent at some point in our life? That's the truth. And that's what we're talking about. Hey, Trey, I want us to be able to get to a point where we realize that it's no shame in being honest and self aware and transparent about our struggles. Because the more honest and self aware we can be, we have the opportunity for growth and we have the opportunity for us to realize, wow, maybe I struggle with this a little bit more than I originally thought. And then maybe there's a course of action, right? That's the goal. So, what areas can we self-sabotage in? Well, we can self-sabotage in our career. Come on. How many times is it that you were supposed to be somewhere in your career by now and you're not there and you want to blame everybody else? You want to blame your boss. You want to blame your coworkers that's dirty. You want to blame all this. And then you look back 5, 10 years later and say, wow, I might have not been as dedicated as I thought. I might have not been as, trying to sharpen my skills in the work field. I might have not really been as dedicated as I, said I was per se. Sometimes I think we fight for we feel, sometimes we get defensive when things happen. And I'm speaking even for myself. I'll give an example. I remember I had a job and I felt like everybody was unfair. The person that was the boss over me, I felt like they were nitpicking at me. I felt like that other people didn't do what they needed to do completely. And why did they say something to me and not to them? And I had to have a reality check one day. It was not at the time that I was in that position. It was a while later. The reality check was, okay, so one of the things somebody put in my review, they told me I need to do some more, what is that called? Was it self-education or like do self-development? That's it. They wanted me to do some self-development. And this was very early in my career. I was in my 20s. I really didn't know what that meant. So I really wasn't there. I just was like, I want to come do my job and get a paycheck and be done. But I didn't understand this self-development thing. And I was just like, oh my God, they're annoying. They made annoying. I'm coming here to do the job. What's the problem? And they put it into my review. And I was just like, this is annoying. And I just really found it as a task. But now I think about it, a good worker should want to do their own self-development so they can move up, right? And the reality is we don't talk about that as much as we should. Sorry, turn off my work ringer. I'm not working right now. We don't realize that type of thing is our own responsibility. And you see how I was blaming my boss for being unfair, comparing myself to the other person, which I felt like they didn't work as hard. How is that? That's not the problem as to why I'm not getting far in my career. My problem was that I wasn't taking my career seriously enough. I was just there. So I didn't get fined. Y'all know how I say it. But I was not actually like trying to go to the next level. And if I really maybe had a mentor, a coach, or if I really knew somebody who had already been in that position, I probably would have realized that was pivotal to my success there. You see what I'm saying? That's one example. So I talked about career. We're talking about examples for self-sabotage. Y'all join in. Y'all, I don't know why y'all be acting this quiet. Y'all didn't used to act this quiet. I don't know if it's I'm on StreamYard right now. Not sure. I love y'all. I'm not mad. I'm just asking. I don't want this ever just to be a conversation about me. But so with the career wise, we also have it with in relationships. How many times do you people self-sabotage relationships? Oh my God, I see it so often. People get in a relationship with somebody and then they blame whatever insecurities they have. You know, if somebody has trust issues, they automatically think the other person is cheating, and so now they're looking through their phones and accusing them. Or if you know, somebody has an issue with feeling wanted and loved, instead of them actually working on feeling loved by themselves, self-love, love from your creator, they pull on the other person much more than they should, like an unhealthy pull, and find out that they end up sabotaging because now that person feels like exhausted emotionally, mentally, you know, and now you stress the relationship out because of your lack of wholeness. Y'all know, I try to stay away from relationship talk because sometimes people feel like you're not qualified to speak on it if you're not in one currently, and you know, to each their own. But I will say this, you know, you cannot operate in a relationship if you're not in a whole. Well, you okay? Let me not say you can't. You should not. You should not be pursuing a relationship if you're not healed. Because what's going to happen is that if you're bleeding and you walk into a relationship, you're going to bleed over whoever you're with. And now you're going to cause a deficit. And it's not fair to the person you're with. So that's it. That's a romantic relationship. Let's go to friendships. OMG. How many times have you guys seen that? Y'all want to talk about codependency? We'll talk about it another day. I see it so often where you're in a friendship and you want to be in this friendship, but you don't. You're having these unhealed areas, and you're leaning on the other person for something that you really should be getting from inside of you, and you're blaming it on that person, and basically you're self-sabotaging that relationship because you're not healed and you don't see it as that. Oftentimes people that self-sabotage does not see that they're doing it. They don't see it. They don't get it. They could blame everybody else for what's really their issue. My God, that's such a big deal. Listen, Julia, I promise you, I feel like it happens so much more than people are honest about. You know, friendships are fragile anyway, right? Because they mature, they move on. You're growing, that person's growing. To be in a relationship with someone is a I don't want to use the word complicated thing, but it's a lot of different facets. It's a lot of different things that's happening. And I really believe that if we work on us, right? I can't work on my friend, or I can't say what they need to do, but I can definitely say what I need to do. And if I'm self-aware, if I'm care enough, like if you care about a person you're in a relationship with, what you should do is work on being the best version of you possible, so that when you're in relationship with them, there's not as much of offense, there's not as much accusations, there's not as much finger pointing, and that you can enjoy your time with that person without actually having to find a way to blame any rift on that other person. I mean, sometimes it happens that there's just something that they're not. You guys are not equally yoked, but the first place that you should always look is yourself. And unfortunately, we're not even built that way. Most times, people look outward and they say, "Well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that." Whereas the healthy response to that would be like, "Wow, what's in me that would cause me to think a certain way about my friend if I called them a friend? And is there anything that I could have done differently to have avoided this, and maybe give them some grace?" Okay, so that's the thing. I see so many people that self-sabotage friendships, right? So we talked about friendships, relationships, career. I think that people unknowingly can even sabotage we talked about career, but let's talk about like opportunities, right? Whether it's an entrepreneur opportunity, whether it's a partnership opportunity for something amazing, or whether it's just an opportunity for them to grow in some area. I have seen so many people get these amazing opportunities in the middle of their hand and they fumble the ball. Y'all watch football. If you watch the football, you know what fumble means. Fumble means that you have the ball in your hand and you don't quite secure it and it falls. And I see a lot of people fumble an opportunity, and sometimes you be like, it's right there. It's right there in your hands. What it is um I've done that before too. Man, I can give you so many examples, but I have one particular example. I'll never forget Oprah. Oprah did this looking for a new face challenge some years back, and I was so excited because I've always wanted to kind of do a talk show. I was like, that's so amazing. I was going to do a video. I was so excited. It was like, yes, this is going to be great. I will submit my 60-second video. It's going to be dope. And you know what I messed around and did? I went on to the actual website and you can see people who already made their submissions. And I looked at the submissions that were already made and my heart dropped. And I looked at it and I said, oh my God, these people are so much better than me. She would never want me over these people. That person's great. That person's amazing. Why would I? And I legitimately canceled my whole thing to shoot. I said, it's no point. It's a waste of my energy. I will pick the other person over me. That's what I said to myself. And I never submitted it. And it took a while. And people were like, why didn't you submit? And I'm just like, no, they look they were much better than me. And by the time like I look back at it and like somebody explained, they said, everybody has something unique and different. You never know what she was looking for. Maybe something you had that she needed. And I at that time I couldn't receive that. But by the time I received it, it was much too late. So that's just another example of self-sabotage. So we've all done it. That's the point, okay? Because I'm trying to get y'all to talk about what you've done. Give me some examples of things y'all have done. But we've all done it. And sometimes the bigger part is we might still be doing some of it today, okay? We are doing it and we got to figure out why are we doing it. The first thing I think one of the main reasons why we do it is that I think some of it is fear of failure. Okay. I believe there are a lot of people who operate with the fear that if I try something, it's not going to work. And so therefore I won't try, that's a big thing. Or fear of success. There's that other fear that if I do it and it does work out, what does that mean now? What do I do next? And then they almost have an anxiety that's attached to it because they don't know what the next thing is. And so they rather just not do anything, right? You see how that both sides of the spectrum end up to the same kind of result? Or either you have the fear, I had this before, the fear of responsibility, whereas I wasn't necessarily afraid of failing or the fear of success, but I was fearful that once I did succeed, that everybody would be depending on me. And the responsibility and the weight of that, yeah, it made me a little bit scared because I said, what if I drop the ball? Then now I have all these other people's, in my hand. Hey, Mom, I was fearful of that. I was legitimately fearful that if I finally did it and I have people that's following me, and if I drop the ball, if I make any error, that they would I have other people's lives in my hands, right? So those are real reasons why people self-sabotage. Another one could be that it's a self-worth issue or self-esteem thing. There are a lot of people that don't believe that they're worthy of good things, or deep down inside, they don't think they can handle it, right? I've heard people say, no, why would you pick me to do that? Or why would I be able to do that? Well, I'm not going to get this job because, why would they give it to somebody like me? Or why would somebody pick someone like me? And that's more a self-esteem thing. They don't really believe, they don't feel qualified. And it's not even qualified because they might actually know they're qualified, but it's something with them internally that doesn't feel like they are worthy to have that actual to be picked, right? And a lot of that stuff roots from childhood, right? When we talked about um some of that even can pull back with that root of rejection we talked about. Remember, I'm telling you, that stuff is so deep. You don't realize all of these things are kind of like sewn in the fabric of our experiences. And if we're not honest about these things, they can plague you and cause you substantial problems currently in your life. Like sometimes I think people talk about, well, what's the point of keep talking about the past? What's the point? Because you don't realize your past shows up in your present. And if you keep on messing up, it's going to show up in your future or the lack of your future. Y'all, y'all know history. They said in order to know your future, you must know your past. That's why history is a whole subject that you study. I used to hate history. I thought history was a stupid subject. I was like, here go, people, what do we need to know this for? Until I really understood that learning your history helps you to be able to track cycles, track patterns, be able to assess it, analyze it, and realize how it plays out currently, how it affects the current geographical and the current societal norms and all these other things I was not aware of. And then I began to love history because of that, because there's actually data that you can use. I'm a data person. There's data you can use to analyze the past to be able to come up with what's currently happening and have an explanation what's happening. And then also talk about what can happen in the future or make solutions based on the past and patterns and about how it would affect things that we can do in the future. I think that's amazing. Okay, so if we believe that, right? If you believe that about history, then how is it possible that you don't believe it about your own personal history? Every time you go to the doctor, what's the first thing they ask you for when you're a new patient? We need to know your medical history, your family history. And I know if y'all like me, I'm annoyed every time I got to fill that paper out. But you know why it's necessary? Because they need to know before they start, well, what am I dealing with here? Like, does her family have high blood pressure? Do they deal with sleep disorder issues? What's her medical history? Has she had surgery before? Does she have any other allergies to medicine? All that stuff is critical for them treating you or seeing you and having a full picture, or as full as possible, right? It's hard to have a full picture, but as a full as possible picture of you so that they can make a well-rounded assessment. It's already hard for them to, because it's things that you don't even know about yourself. It's things that they don't know about you to even ask in that moment, because there's so many different things to ask. And that's why sometimes it's really hard to get an accurate diagnosis when you're in the certain things, right? Because it's like, it's so many factors. The body is so complicated. It is hard to really know. And just like we talk about people are not self-aware with their emotions and how they present in this world, let's talk about when you go to the doctor's office. How many times they ask you what's going on, what's wrong with you, and you just sit here. And I don't know about you, I have literally blanked out. Went to the doctor to ask them certain things about me that I was concerned about, and I got there and I was just like, I know I was supposed to ask you something else, and I just forget about it. And then I get home and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even ask them. And that's just what I remember. What about all the stuff that I don't even think to say? And then you got to wait till the next time you go. And what if you only go annually? Or what if you go less than that? And so now you got this thing going on and you just feel like it's a bother and you don't get it taken care of. And now it's a problem, right? So that's what we talk about medical wise. So that's why I keep talking about your past, because that's your history. Stop talking. Maybe we should rename it. Your past, your upbringing, your childhood is not your experiences are not just your past. They are your history. And you got to look at it like that. History is not just, Black History Month or the history of this country. You have your own history. Your life tells a story. You are really writing an autobiography as you're living life. Like if you go back and start to write down everything since you've been born that you remember, like that's your story being written. It's a real thing. So you should know it and you should be able to tell your story. I know a lot of people that can't even tell their story because they don't really take a step back and look at everything that's happened. And then, and if you don't know your story, it's hard for you to be able to realize and connect the dots about what you're doing now and why you're doing what you're doing now. And then also the future, to be able to realize how it affects what you want to do. So that's important. So yeah, so we have to be careful with that's one of the reasons why we probably do deal with the self-sabotage a lot, just not being aware of things. A lot of times, another thing that happens is that people self-sabotage for control issues. We all deal with some level of control. And it's a real thing. Legacy building of the dad. Oh, yeah, I think you meant of the past. Yeah, Moni, I honestly do believe that we have an issue with not even looking back far enough, because you can't do legacy building unless you really know what your history was. You can't go forward, because if you're not really educated well as to what happened in the past, you're not going to be able to really construct something good in the present that's going to be legacy for your future. You know what I'm saying? I tell people, we got to step it up, because there's some people that's out here, the way that they live in, they live in 3 generations down. Everything they doing right now is going to affect the next 3 generations. That's dope. We got people out here talking about YOLO still. We got people talking about YOLO still. And you know, the crazy part is that I believe that, you know, you should live your best life, but I also believe that it's like a trifecta. You have to be honest and deal with your past. You have to look at what you're doing in your present. And then you have to look at where you want to go in your future, and then kind of connect the 3 so that they're interacting in a way that's beneficial as possible. That's how you grow. That's how you win. You don't just choose one thing and not think about all 3. Like this is life doesn't stop. You're literally in a forever moving type of system. And the best way to be efficient is for you to think about all 3. And then dash, which is built for as long as you live until the date of expiration. Huh. I like that. See, now I thought you were talking about the past. Thank you for explaining that to me. You say you have that date of birth, then the dash, which is built for as long as you live until the date of expiration. I like that. I really do like that. That's dope. Yeah, that dash, y'all. Fill in the dash, right? That's the between. Fill in the dash. That's what, you know, that's what this life is about, filling in the dash. Now listen, Moni, I don't know. I hope that one day I don't just take it and use it like that's my own line. I'm gonna try to give you credit, but I like that. That's a good way to look at it. Legacy, building of the dash. That's dope. I like that. So yeah, y'all, we have to really figure out and become more self-aware to figure out why we're doing these self-sabotage, these things, right? And I was bringing up control. A lot of times we deal with control issues. When we feel like our life is spinning out of control, like that's something that we have to honestly sit down and become more aware about. I know I used to be a big control freak. I did. And I felt like if I couldn't control anything else, I could control this little square. And I thought that was a good thing. I thought it was a great, great, great thing. I want to be able to control this area, right? If I can control nothing else, I'm controlling this space, I'm controlling my house, I'm controlling my environment. However, what happens when you can't control something? What happens when something comes in your area, in your space, and something happens to you that you can't control? What's triggered? What's triggered? How do you react to that? How do you respond to that? What is the thing that you do? Are you going to go crazy about it? Are you going to get in your emotions about it? And we talk about self-sabotage. Do you shut something down because you can't control it? I have seen it. I have done it. Like when I've gotten into a situation like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this business. This is going to be something I'm going to have that happens. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be awesome. And then something happens that is above my level of competency, right? I don't know how to do something. Like I've gotten to a part of it where I feel like I can't do it. And I'm being asked questions that I can't really I feel like I'm losing control of the situation. Have you ever been there? Like you feel like you got a thing by a leash, and then the leash is like it breaks away from you, and the situation feel like it's going all over the place, and you legitimately like, I don't have control of it. What you really then should do is assess the situation and deal with some critical thinking and troubleshooting to gain it back, versus what some people do is shut the whole thing down. They sabotage it. They self-sabotage their own thing because they felt like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know what's going on. I had control. And now that person seems they have control, and they get manic, and you shut down something that was destiny for you, something that was really good for you, because you didn't feel like you were in the head of it. You had everything under control. And I'm not sitting here pointing fingers. I think I for sure have done it to myself before when I was younger. What it is that it's a fear. Some members talk about the fear of responsibility. And sometimes it's just not knowing what to do and feeling less than because you don't know. Whenever somebody's very intelligent, one of the hardest things for them to acknowledge and be honest about is they don't know about something. And I'm telling you, that was probably one of the biggest lessons I learned, was the day that I acknowledged that I don't know it all. I don't know everything, not even in my field of study. I'm a math and science like brain, I used to be. And so I don't know it all. I used to get super offended when somebody asked me something in math and I couldn't get it. Somebody asked me about something in finance. Somebody asked me about something with credit and I didn't know it. It would take me there because I dealt with feelings of, I don't know if I want to say less than, but it was a thing. Like I'm like, I pride myself on, learning this. I pride myself on being somebody that's well versed in the world. I pride myself on knowing things. I'm the go-to person. This happens a lot when you deal with alpha people, alpha personality people. Me. This happens a lot because when you're somebody that people go to often for answers, when you're a problem solver, when you're the person people know people to look to actually get advice from, when people are looking to you for answers, when people asking for solutions, and you're providing that for everybody else. Sorry, that's my cat. When you do all those things, the moment when you don't know something, or when somebody when somebody challenges you and they prove you wrong, or they try to prove you wrong, or you just come to a place where you don't know something, and especially if it's kind of public, I'm gonna be honest, it used to make me feel some kind of way. And I had to learn to manage that, because it's good you said, Moni, about anger. Like sometimes that stuff bubbles up. And remember, we talk about those things are just symptoms. They're not the root issue, right? So you have anger bubble up. You have this insecurity bubble up. You have all these things happen as a result of what you feel. And really what happened is, in that moment, I lost control. I am no longer the person that knows it all. I'm no longer the person that can solve it. And actually, the real thing is I feel vulnerable. I feel exposed. And I had to get it in my head, no matter how smart I was, no matter how well-versed I was, no matter how educated I was, no matter how thoughtful I was, I will not know every answer. And it's okay to say it. I will not get it right every time. And it's okay to say it. And as self-aware as I am, I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings, not purposely. I'm going to say the wrong thing in a conversation sometimes, not purposely again. I'm going to potentially break somebody's heart. I don't think I would ever do that purposely at this point in my life, but I could. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all think that's simple to say. I'm telling you, from a former person that really could not, former perfectionist, I did not believe it was possible for me to do things that were bad or wrong or be unknowledgeable. That's not a word, unknowledgeable, but you know what I'm saying, to not know something. And I was not, and it was a control thing. That was what I was good at. I knew it. And so when I was in the situations when I didn't have that control, baby, I shut that thing down. I used to shut it down. I did. I shut conversations down. I shut opportunities down. I shut projects down. The minute I felt less than, the minute I didn't feel in control of it, the minute I didn't feel like I knew everything about it, I didn't want nothing to do with it. Now that is horrible. And I know I'm not the only one who's done it, but I can admit me, right? I can talk about me and about why I've done that before. A lack of control can make you just bow out of a thing, right? So I even think that's definitely what happens sometimes when you have people that are used to be a narcissistic. They want to control everything. If they can't control everything, it's like that all hell gonna break loose, right? Yeah, Moni, that's good. That's exactly what I would say. So when you humble yourself and say, I don't know, but I'll seek it and get back to you. That's such a pivotal tool because I didn't know that at first. I didn't know that I had the grace to be able to say it. I was used to always being Johnny on the spot, having an answer, having a solution, having everything there, and realizing that I'm not, and being able to have the grace to be able to say, not only do I not know, but it's okay that I don't know. And if you want me to, I'll get the information for you and get back to you. That's something, baby. I learned that some years back, but that's kind of recent. I ain't gonna front. I ain't gonna stunt here for nobody. That's kind of recent for me, like the last couple of years, being able to acknowledge that that was a thing for me. That was a thing for me, right? And then also, this is not what we're talking about, but being able to realize you can learn from anybody legitimately. I can learn from my 17-year-old son. I can learn from my 4-year-old niece. I can learn from the homeless person on the corner. I can learn something from the school dropout over there. What somebody say? Um, a broke clock is right at least twice a day. I like that. A broke clock is right at least twice a day. And so you can always learn from somebody from some experience. It doesn't mean that you're less than. And being able to be humble and acknowledge that and understand that and giving yourself grace, right? So yeah, y'all, this is what we have to be very careful about. Some tips for overcoming self-sabotage. First is like what we're doing right now is talking about it, acknowledging the behaviors, realizing when we see things. Admitting that we self-sabotage is very painful. It's not something we want to be honest about, right? Because that means that we're in our own way. Who wants to admit that? Nobody. Who wants to admit it? It takes a strong person that's able to say, you know what? I probably did self-sabotage myself in this season. And this is why we have to look back and review. Everybody always says, oh, I hate when people make New Year's resolutions, and I hate when people talk about this and that. But let me tell you something. It's something really good about reflection. There's a really good thing that's in reflection, being able to sit back and look at what you did and be able to review and go back and say, you know what? This is what I can do better. This is what I did great. And this is where these are some goals for next year. We talk about jobs that do reviews every year. I tell you about those evaluations. Like my job, they make you do your own self-evaluation. How do you think you did in these areas? What do you think what do you think you should do better? What are the things what are your goals that you think you should have for this next coming year? And for you to think about it first, right? And then they go ahead and report on what those things are for you as well. Your manager, they assess you as well, and they come back and y'all talk about it and they do that. But to be able to have that assessment for yourself and be able to say, you know what? I didn't do this so well. And this is not to go into a condemnation thing, but this is to be honest about it and say, I didn't do this so well. Or why did I get stuck? Or why have I been trying to do this for the last 3 years? The same thing. Why am I in this cycle? And being honest about some metrics. That's why I said being able to look back at your past, your history, and be able to say, you know what? What's the reasoning for it, right? Because it's easy to say that, this, that. But then being able to say, you know what? I think that I stood in my own way. Y'all, that's not, and you said that's humiliating. Yeah, it is. A lot of times it's humiliating to admit to other people, but I'm just trying to get us to grow up a little bit internally. I can probably do better by admitting to myself first that I did self-sabotage. I did that. I did. I had this goal, and man, I was scared, y'all. I was scared. So I backed out, and I kind of did this and did that. And that's why I'm not where I want to be. Nobody else but me. That's why I'm not where I want to be. And honestly, to understand the strength of that moment, it doesn't have to be humiliating. Honestly, somebody that can tell me that they self-sabotage themselves in some season of their life, I give them many kudos. Like I say, that's dope. That's dope. Because that takes a lot to be able to say that and be honest about that. Because if you can be honest about that, baby, you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere. There are too many people that's holding on to this image that they think that they should go ahead and this facade that they're trying to hold up, that they're not being real. They're not living in reality. They're delusional about how they really present in this world, how they show up every day. And that's so many people to even name. I don't even want to talk about that. But people, like I've learned I can't even get offended when people are lying to me because they lie to themselves first. You can't tell me the truth and you lying to yourself. You're starting to believe the stuff that you say. So when somebody can be honest about, yeah, you know what? I was in a season of self-sabotage and I now know why I was doing it. That's like such a strong thing to be able to say. And I think that, again, this is why we have these conversations, to normalize humanness, to normalize the fact that we all mess up. We all make mistakes. We all have not gone the straight and narrow. There's not one person living, breathing, has done all the right things. I don't care who they are. I don't care how perfect their life looks. Nobody has done everything right. And the faster you get to that moment, the faster you realize that, the faster you give other people's grace, and the faster you give yourself grace. And when you give yourself grace, you can move on from a thing. When you feel condemned is when you get stuck and you stop and you sabotage, self-sabotage. Like, for example, if I'm working out, I'm trying to eat healthier. If I'm doing so good and then all of a sudden I go to work and they have cake day and they're like, oh, here's some free cake and it's my favorite cake. And I go eat a piece of the cake and I feel horrible about it. Like, I've been doing so good. I've been doing so good. And now I ate this cake and now I can't eat right for the rest of the week. And now I stopped working out this whole week and I stopped eating right because I had this slice of cake. You understand? I just sabotaged my whole weeks of progress. Now, what happened in my head is that I made one bad decision. And maybe it wasn't a bad decision, but in that moment, I feel like I made a bad decision, something I didn't want to do, and I messed up everything. When if I would have been able to pull that back down and stop making it feel like the end of the world, I could have said, you know what? I had this piece of cake today. That's okay. I'm not eating anything else today. Let me drink a lot of water, flush it out of my system, and let me start back over brand new in the morning. And that's how you continue your progress. But you see how that condemnation does? You beat yourself up so much, you get to the point. I used to do it all the time. I'll make one mistake and then I flush the whole week down, like I can't start back over to Monday. And then you got this constant starting over on Monday because you feel like the whole week, the whole day is thrown away. And now you're wasting valuable progress because you're beating up on yourself. That's what we do in life a lot of times. We self-sabotage because we made a bad decision. We made a decision that we felt like was less than us. We were somebody that we don't believe is worthy of our time and our attention. We did something that we don't agree with, that we're ashamed of. And instead of us getting up and doing something better, we stick in that thing, we stay in that thing, and we stay low, and you sabotage your progress, right? So yeah, so that's what we have to do. Identify that, admit that, we self-sabotage. Nobody wants to really feel with that, but if you can admit it, then you can deal with the patterns and then figure out what the next step is. And also let's learn what sets us off. Like, there are triggers to self-sabotaging behavior. Like, I've learned fear. We talked about that. I learned we said self-doubt, like self-esteem, not believing that we're worthy or that we're capable. Remember we talked about fear of success. That's a thing. And then another thing is boredom, right? Sometimes you get bored by something and you just you let it go, and it's not, and it's like, just because that initial excitement went away, now I don't want to do it, and you self-sabotage yourself that way. You have to be very careful to persevere and endure through a thing if it's something for you to do. Moni, I love that, the prideful thing, right? You gotta get the pride out, right? The pride is, man, that's the fall of a nation. Like being able to, well, not being able to admit that, hey, you got it wrong. It's okay. I messed up. It's okay. And keep moving, and not allowing that to slow the progress. You know what I'm saying? If you realize that you're behind, if you stop, you'll never finish the race. You can't allow that to stop your forward motion. And that's leading to the next thing. You got to practice getting comfortable with failure. Like, you're going to fail. You're going to fall. You're going to do something wrong. It's okay. It's part of the journey. Like a baby that's trying to learn how to walk, they fall. That's part of learning to walk. Legitimately, you are not learning to walk if you don't fall. That's part of it. Fall, get up. Fall, get up. Fall, get up. Fall on your face, get up. Fall on your butt, get up. Fall backwards, get up. Babies do not care, because guess what? There's a bigger goal. I want to get to that. To babies, they're so small and they see this big world, and to them, they want to get to those stairs, or they want to get to that cabinet, they want to get to that drawer, whatever. They have a goal. And so if walking is how I have to do it, I'm not going to stop till I get there. And that's how we have to have that same resilience. They don't care that they fall. The mom and daddy be more upset they fall. They cry for 2 seconds and get back up. We got to have that same tenacity. We have the same drive and continue to go. We talk about the new year, y'all. It's all in the same vein. We got to be able to keep moving. This is why people have to start over so many times, me included, is because we legitimately fall and we think that's the end and the end all. And then now we allow that thing to sit us down when, no, this is part of it. It's part of it. It's fall and get up. Fall and get up. Literally fall and get up. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's how you do. The image there, ups and downs, the woes of trying, literally continue to go. That's part of this whole process. That's the process. That's the process. If you expect to do everything in life and never fall or never fail, you lost already. You got to get over that root of rejection. You got to get over the root of the fear of failing. It's part of it. Nobody tells us that. We just say win, 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 win. All we do is win. That's the cool part of it. But nobody tells you how to deal with the falling and how to feel about it. No one talks about that. That's a real part of it. You have to learn how to fall. In skating, there's a thing where you have to learn how to fall gracefully. There's actually a thing when you're on skates that you have to learn how to fall and not so you don't hurt yourself. Because if you fall straight backwards, you could really hurt something. But you have to bend those knees and be able to fall on your butt, get a little plop in there so that you don't hurt yourself. Because falling is part of it. Falling is a thing. The better you get at it, you don't fall as much. But you have to be able to fall correctly so you will not hurt yourself. When you see the stunt people, when they're doing their stunts, there is a way to fall. There's a way to do this stunt so you don't hurt yourself. Same thing. This is the thing. In life, you got to know how to fail and fall. And when you learn when you fall, that's okay. And if you learn how to fall and then do it gracefully, you'll get to a point when something bad happens. Like I knew that I was really at my next level is when certain bad things would happen and I wasn't cussing and fussing and I started to take deep breaths like, okay. Nothing I can do about it. Nothing I can do about it. I could either cry and stay here in this moment and dwell on it and replay it, or I could say, okay, that happened. That sucks. I'm upset about it. I can vent and move on. But I don't get to sit in that thing. I don't get to sit in my own puke. You ever threw up on yourself in a drunken moment or whatever? You sick. You don't sit in that stuff. It's stench. It's gross. You got to get up out of that. I don't care how gross it is. I don't care how bad you feel. You got to get up out of that. You don't always have somebody to help pull you up out of that. You got to sometimes get yourself and maneuver. I don't care how bad you feel. You got to get out of it. You got to get out of your own slop. Sometimes you sit so long in your own slop, you don't even realize you're stuck there. You got to get out of it. No matter how painful it is, no matter how humiliating it is, no matter how much it's hit you in your pride, you got to get out of there. Mental adversity that will come, like Dunning-Clay, we fall back. Listen, Moni, I love that. That's what it is. You fall down, we get up. In the Bible, it says a wise man is one that has failed 7 times, but got up 8. He failed 7 times, but he got up 8. And some people are like, well, how would you consider him wise? If you look at the story, it's because he got up. Because that means how many times he got knocked down, he got up again. That's what make you wise, that you got up again. People really can conceptualize that and apply it to their life. Man, come on, we would be unstoppable. No, that's not unstoppable. I gotta get these words together. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with me. And I'm about to wrap it up. And the last couple thing is to identify what you really want, right? Sometimes when you self-sabotage, you're not honest about what you really stand to gain from a situation. And sometimes you don't know what you want. And I think to get really clear about what you want in life, then you'll start to realize, okay, if this is what I really want and this is on the path to it, I need to get serious and I need to stick to a thing. This is something I say I want, I have to buckle down and get this done. And me quitting every time something happens, me sabotaging my situation every time things go wrong, it's not going to help me get there. Just getting real about it, right? So, yep, that's pretty much it, y'all. I mean, I think this is a good conversation because we all do it. We all have done it. And we're talking about coming in. This is still January. It's still the beginning of the year. We're fresh into 2021. You know, let's be sure that we're not bringing any self-sabotaging behaviors with us. And the only way you can do it is to reflect, to write down, to assess your situation, do a self-evaluation, figure out where you're at. What's your goals? Do y'all have goals? Like, we're going to talk about that soon. That's probably my next live will be about goal setting. Like, are we talking about these things? What's your 6-month goal? What's your 1-year goal? 5-year goal? 10-year goal? Come on, y'all. We're adults now. If we don't have these goals together, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing living this life where we're just out here? I'm just trying to survive. I'm just trying to be here. Listen, I understand sometimes situations are, when extreme situations are happening, critical situations, yeah, it's hard for you to look past that. But if you're not in some situation that's literally tying up everything you're doing, then, and I'm sorry, I'm going to, besides dealing with death or illness or something like that, even if you're in a situation that's hard, there still has to be a goal. Because guess what? That situation won't always be. And what's going to happen when you get on the other side of that situation? Are you going to be unprepared? Most are. Most are, because you did not have the wherewithal, the mental capacity to be able to think beyond the situation you're in. I think that's a form of self-sabotage too, is not properly preparing because you're not thinking past that moment. So many people are in moment people. We just sit here in this moment. And I think that's how you self-sabotage your future, because you don't think past this moment. We YOLO. We all just in this moment. No, fam. No, you got to have a plan. You got to figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it. And that plan helps you to not sabotage your future. You need to know. Somebody should be able to ask you, what's your 1-year goal? What's your 5-year goal? You should be able to say it, whether it's for your family, for your future, for your financial status, all those things. You just need to be able to know that. That's so let's get real. Like, if this is the new year, like, let's have a plan. Let's have a plan. So thank y'all for rocking with me. This is a good conversation, I think. Moni, I appreciate you coming here for the first time and rocking with me and commenting, because I don't like to talk to myself. So, and it's so funny. I know people come on later and say stuff, but it's fine. I'm just, I like it to be a back and forth. So this is a good conversation, and y'all know how I always end it. You are enough. You are enough. Just how you are. Just how you are. You are enough to not self-sabotage, for you to make a plan for your life, to acknowledge and own up to whatever you've done in the past and be able to do better. You're enough. And sometimes you need to hear it. And I'm gonna keep saying it every single time I talk to y'all, because guess what? But you're gonna get this work. You're gonna get this work. And I'm gonna tell you until you start believing it. Yep. I'm gonna be that annoying little voice. You're like, Dad, parents keep on saying it, but guess what? I believe it. I really do. Because, just because it's true. It's true. And if you don't believe in that, that's okay. Keep on saying it until you start believing it. Oh, yeah, there's power to your words. Oh, it is. Oh, they are. So you're enough for me to love you, enough for God to love you. And Some announcements. What is it? Thursday. Y'all know it's the weekend. I won't be back on to Tuesday. So I want y'all to go ahead and have a amazing weekend. Do something nice for yourself. You know how I feel about self-care. It is the best investment that you can make into you, and nobody else is going to do it for you. So you better do it for yourself. Be your own self-advocate. So do something nice, whether it's take a bath, whether it's cook a meal that you wanted to, whether it's sit down and take an hour and watch a show that you wanted to, or write a business plan that you always wanted to. Whatever it is, do it for you. Not for anybody else, but for you. Don't forget to go to my website, www.parispjohnson.com. You see it on the little ticker on the bottom to grab a shirt. This is one of my ones. Embrace the peculiar. Definition: distinctive in nature or character. Because y'all, we peculiar. Instead of fighting it, embrace it, baby. Because that's your uniqueness. That's your God-given gift. You better embrace that thing, because nobody will but you. And it's the thing that's going to be, that's your fingerprint. That's your fingerprint in life. That one thing that makes you you. You better embrace it. And you want one of these shirts, go to my website, www.parispjohnson.com, or you can get the You Are Enough one. And they're great gifts if you know anybody. Please, if you're catching it at the very end, please type replay so I can know that you're watching the replay. Y'all know how y'all do. Y'all always tell me, oh, I caught the replay. Please type in there replay so I can know that you're catching it. Thank you and appreciate it. And if y'all want to make any comments on here after the fact, I still go back and read them. I see everything, so you can still engage. Let's see what else I want to say. I said that, and that. Oh yeah, and I think that's about it. Yeah, have a good weekend, y'all. Oh, and I see this last thing you promoted: proper preparation prevents pure performance. And that's how we're gonna end this all out. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. All day, every day. Get it right, y'all. Love y'all. Have an amazing weekend. See y'all Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard. Okay? All right.